is much like what will be an early voting site, where you'll have 4 to 6 poll pads, and they'll be connected to an on-demand ballot printer. But on election day, you may only have 2 poll pads, and people are actually manually handing out ballots at each of the polling places. Oh, look at that, quickly done. All right, so when a voter comes in, they will have a couple of options. The standard way, which is they give their name and address, will be the way that most people will still check in. However, we will have the option that they can scan their driver's license or scan their ballot cards that we mail out every year. We mail out our orange mail tech cards, which you all keep, right? But there's a barcode on it, and you can scan it in for a quick access. But we're going to pretend that this person doesn't have it. So Andrew Fadden is the person. Here, instead of me spelling it for you this way. So a poll person will do a quick search. There it is. So and they'll click it, and then they'll turn this poll pad around to the voter.
Let the voter verify.
And the voter will
actually that.
Yeah. The voter will look at it, and you can see it's nice and big. Be able to see what their date of birth is and their address, and they get to verify whether that is them or not, and they will hit accept. Okay. Now, once the voter hits accept, they will take their handy-dandy stylus and sign their name. Okay, and hit done signing. Now, you can see my signature looks nothing like Mr. Fadden's signature, but this is how our poll workers will verify, just like a paper poll book. They will then turn the screen to them, see what their signature is, make sure it is that person, and then have the same processes in place that we've had before are ready to go. Once a poll worker decides that this is in fact the person, they will hit accept. They will initial and hit submit. Now, for an early voting site, we'll see how quickly this happens. So now that she just hit submit, the voter will then go to the ballot table. And whether it's an early voting site or not, we didn't have a receipt for it. Oh no, the receipt. So then the voter will get a receipt saying what their ballot style is on it. And then proceed to the voting table, the ballot table, where in early voting, it'll be printed, a ballot will be printed, they'll turn in their receipt, and the inspector will verify they're getting the correct ballot style that printed off the printer. Now, as you can see, that printed off really quickly. By the time somebody hits submit and they walk over to the printer, the ballot will be ready and they should go out in order. But we will have verification there. On the case on election day, most poll sites will have 1 to 3 ballot styles only. They won't have the 69 different ballot styles that we have in a regular general election. So they will have stubbed ballots. And again, the receipt will show them that what the ballot style is, and the inspector will take the receipt, mark the ballot number on there. We will save those receipts for accounting purposes and hand them the correct ballot style. A voter will then take the ballot, go to a table, go to a polling booth, whatever, fill it out, and these ballots are the same as any other ballots that we have. They go right into our regular scanning system. So the voter is still going to vote the same, the way they used to vote, the way they always have voted since 2008. So that isn't going to change. It's just going to change the way we check people in. So why don't we do what happens if one of the great functionalities of these polling places things is if a voter shows up at the wrong polling place. So on early voting, doesn't matter. Wherever you show up, you get to vote. But on election day, if you show up at the wrong polling place, you can't cast a ballot, or if you do cast an affidavit, it can be not counted because you're at the wrong polling place. So here's what happens if somebody shows up at the wrong one. So we'll do Victor Cordero. As you can see, this is now in gray. and the inspector sees that it says wrong location. In the past, if somebody just came up and they weren't in the book, we would have to tell people to call the Board of Elections. They'd get a busy signal, or go online and try to figure out where their polling place is, and not everybody can operate that. So this, if we select on that, the inspector will then tell them, oh, no, you're at the wrong polling place. You have to go to, where is it? That's their address.
That's their address.
Yeah. So if you go to display map, it's going to tell them they have to actually go to St. Lucy's. It's going to have a map, and it's going to have driving directions. Now, here's what's really neat. Michelle, if you can hit print location, we can either do one of two things. On the receipt, it will print them up, their driving directions, from where they are to the correct polling place. However, if we hit text,
Somebody want to give me their phone
yeah,
number?
who wants to give me your phone number? Who wants to be the guinea pig? Kevin, what's your phone number?
315-729-9577.
Now, this is really neat. So, let's say somebody wants to, have their Google map or something. A text should go to you. You got it already, right? Done. And then if you click on the link, it'll give you right to your GPS settings on your phone, and you'll have driving directions on that to your polling place. Now we're gonna do what happens if somebody goes up and they're not registered at all. We'll do Timothy Block, because we know he's from Tennessee or Missouri? San Diego. So Timothy, we know, is not registered. So it comes up and says no records found. So they can't get checked in, they can't get a receipt, they can't get a voting ballot. That will be, the entire county database will be on every polling place in the county. So at this point, then we will be telling them to call the Board of Elections and find out what the issue is, whether they have to get an affidavit ballot or court order. This is going to reduce our phone calls on election day greatly. It's going to give immediate information to the voters at the polling places, and be able to eliminate some of the confusion that happens on election day and get people to the right polling places, so we're not having any ballots that aren't counted. You go to questions? Yeah. Is there any questions about what we've done? Because that's pretty much how this system's going to be in place. We hope in the next couple weeks to have these live. We're doing a state fair ballot that's going to have people choose their favorite building and their favorite food at the state fair, and telling us whether they plan to early vote, election day vote, or absentee vote. That's going to be part of our testing over the next, as soon as we get it up in the lobby, going right up until probably 2 weeks before early voting starts, because we got to get the stuff out in the field at that point. So sometime in October, we will have that running in our lobby, and then of course we're going to be at the women's building at the state fair. We're partnering with a couple of other counties as well to staff it. We'll be registering voters and producing this ballot as well for people who are in Onondaga County at the state fair, and we'll even have a ballot for people who aren't in the county who just want to participate in the fun. But what questions do you might you have? Yeah, Lisa.